in order for us to function as humans, we need the correct light puts just as much as we need nutritious food. And if we deviate from that, which we have, especially with the advent of all of the many different types of screens we are surrounded by all day and all night, we are destroying our biology at the mitochondrial level, which is what drives all of human health. And so I started to learn about this listening to podcasts, and it was very, very fringe. So I went online to try and see, okay, is what I'm hearing in these fringe podcasts and these fringe communities, is it real? If it was real, there must be some evidence for it. And that is what led me down the path to understand that the information that we take as valid is often just at best an accident and at worst intentionally misleading from the powers that be, and that the actual true information and the new research and the real understanding are often left up to us to figure out for ourselves. And I thought, this is such compelling information. I can't wait for the media to pick it up. When is that going to happen? 2017, nothing. 2018, nothing. 2019, the magazine Outside, it's an American publication and it covers, outdoorsiness. They had an article titled, "Is Sunscreen the New Margarine?" And the whole article was about how we have, downplayed the importance of sunlight and how, potentially this stuff that we're slathering on our bodies is not only blocking out the light that we need, but is also carcinogenic in its own right. And it became the most downloaded article in the history of the magazine. It went crazy viral. And I thought, oh, great, this is it. This is the moment, now this article did so well, it got so many clicks, so many likes. This is the moment that this line of thinking is going to spread, and more outlets are going to pick it up and pick it up and pick it up. So I waited and I waited, nothing. And then COVID came and it basically became, I won't say illegal, but you couldn't even talk about healthy food, let alone healthy light. And it just completely shut down the conversation. Not only that, but Outside Magazine printed a rebuttal to their own article on the importance of sunlight. Anyway, fast forward, the journalist who wrote that article is actually coming out with a book. I think it was just released on the importance of sunlight. So there's vindication. And in the last few years, it's really shifted. It really showed me that if this information is real, if this bright light at night is so destructive to my health and going outside is so important to my health, if that was they would have told me, someone would have let me know. There would have been some articles, that there'd be warnings on the packages, there'd be chatter online. And it really showed me that in fact is not the case. I ended up starting a podcast because I wanted to make it more accessible, and I wanted, moms and just regular people to be able to understand this information who weren't going to go and pour through all of the articles, all of the published research on PubMed. And that led me to understand what's going on an even deeper level than just how light is affecting our mitochondria, which is the quantum biologic foundations of all of this. Quantum biology is the intersection of physics and biology, which up until recently was considered, impossible. And there's now very, very strong evidence that, of course, quantum effects are happening in living systems. And with the word quantum, it is touchy because there are scientists doing really, really, rigorous lab work who do not want to be associated with anything that could be considered woo, because they're already taking a risk by saying that they're quantum biologists. They don't want it associated with anything that could take away from their credibility within the scientific community. So they are, even more rigorous and specific and precise and protective of their work. And probably most people associated with FJN would be like, of course they are. But in the mainstream scientific consensus, that was considered heresy. That is changing. And so the way that it connects back to light is that if you really want to understand how light affects our bodies, you do have to go down to that subatomic level. So in terms of the research, the circadian research is very, very strong. And there's quite a strong consensus now that humans need to have regulated circadian rhythms in order to function properly. That research started to come out in the 1980s and has grown stronger and stronger. The quantum biology research is really in its infancy and is gaining momentum as we speak.